Are you afraid to follow what's on your heart? Today we're talking about how to step out on your faith and start living your dreams out loud on this episode of Coffee with Tea. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia, and I'm excited because we're going to be talking to Miss Stephanie Russo, who's going to be teaching us how to step out on our faith. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Miss Stephanie to the show. Welcome, my dear.
Hello, Tonia. Thank you so much for having me on. It's such an honor to be on your show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you accepted my invitation. So, we're going to have a great conversation because I always think, stepping out on faith is a much needed discussion. And
Yes.
so, before we really dive into that conversation, I want to really open up and let people know about who are you and how you've been dealing with this whole pandemic.
Okay. Sure. I'm Stephanie Russo, and I am from Ohio. And my background is I worked as a social worker for a few years, and then I worked in higher education for over 20 years. So I have my master's degree in education and love that, love learning, but stepped out on faith to pursue my passion for entrepreneurship. And so I've been doing that and doing what I call living my dream out loud. And how I've been handling the pandemic is, again, allowing God. And as we talk through this, I'm going to be talking about God and faith a lot. Some people may say the universe or a higher being, but to me, I love God and Jesus. So that's what I'm going to be talking about through this conversation. And so in my businesses, I've had to do some things differently, and I've had to pivot because first of all, I want to say my thoughts and prayers to everyone who has had a loved one that has been touched by COVID or they have lost through COVID, because we have lost some family and friends as well. And so this is real. And we've had to change things in our life and how we have done business and how we have lived. And it's not going to go back to the normal as we know it. So we've had to do some things differently.
Right. Like I said, yeah, I've lost a few friends myself. So yeah, like I said, COVID is real. And so, we're all, like I said, navigating this new normal. So like I said, and the beautiful thing about this new normal is I've connected with a lot more people online. And so that's how we connected. And I know we share a passion, and we're going to dive a little bit more into the protecting people down the road. But right now we're going to talk about how you step on faith. And I always ask people to share something that's a little passionate. And, Miss Stephanie was like, well, I don't know. I said, but she was telling me about her faith. And you use this acronym BIG. So tell me a bit about what BIG means and how has stepping on faith really solidified where you are in your faith walk?
Sure. But first, let me define faith for those who may not be familiar with it. So according to the Bible in Hebrews 11:1, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So it is believing in it when, there's no evidence that it is so. So to me, it's the willingness to see before you can physically see it. I like to say seeing with your spiritual eyes rather than your physical eyes. Another definition I like is by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said it's like taking the first step when you can't see the staircase. And so to me, I love to help people. You talked about BIG. BIG to me, an acronym for that is believe in God. And so when you achieve something that you can explain it, but God. So I love those but God moments, that the only way that you can sum up how this happened is but God. And to me, that is a big dream or a big go.
Right. Like I said, we were talking about how we scale our businesses based off of our faith. And I know you shared a little bit about how stepping out on faith, what has looked for you, or how has, trusting God helped you build upon your faith, and how has that journey been for you?
Okay. To me, faith, I design with faith is I do a lot of reading of the Bible. So to me, faith is all about mindset. So you have to have that mindset. You have to have that positive mindset. And you just have to trust and you have to believe. And I hear a lot of people who say they prayed for something and God has given them this vision. And then they start working towards it. And then they have people who are in their ear who start telling them about how they can't do it, why it shouldn't happen, and all of these things. And to me, if you know that God has given it to you and he has told you what you could do, trust and believe it's going to come to fruition. So to me, I look at it as he gave me this vision. He may not have given it to Tonia, to anyone else. And so they may not understand it. They may not support it. They may not get it. But you have to be obedient to it and you have to step out and you have to do it. And sometimes this could be our family and our friends. It can even be our spouses. But when we step out and we are obedient to his word, because he says obedience is better than sacrifice. So when we are obedient to his word and it starts coming to fruition, then it will be revealed to others. So that's what we have to do. And we have to know that sometimes this may not happen overnight. You know, with one of my businesses, it took 20 years for God told me to move. Other people were trying to tell me what to do and how to do it and all those things, but I wouldn't move until God told me to. And now that I did, oh my goodness, things are starting to happen. So to me, the first thing you have to do is you have to, when I talked about trust and believe and having that mindset, you have to first know what your purpose is in life. And once God reveals that to you and you know what your purpose is in life, and when your purpose and your passion and your personality to me line up, I always say, watch out now. So when that kind of lines up right there, and then you start doing it, then you start seeing things come to fruition.
Right, right, right. So, what would your advice be to people who are now just starting out on their faith journey? They're like kind of, shaky and stuff like that. What would be your advice to those who are just starting out?
Okay. So for me is, as I mentioned, listening, you have to study the Bible. And you have to be able to know and discern when you hear God's voice. And you have to listen to what he's telling you. So I think when you follow those paths of what he has for you, that's going to help you. And then you want to read some other books that's going to talk about that. And like I said, I read a lot. Everything that I have read comes down to faith or mindset. And I said this interchangeably. I started when I would see mindset or see faith, just kind of highlighting it. And I was like, I'm just highlighting this. So everything you have to think of, everything starts with a thought. Everything started with a thought. And so when you look at this Zoom meeting that we're on, this was a thought. And so we have to look at what our thoughts are. We have to know that thoughts, they don't just shape our reality, they reveal it. So if we think we can, we can. But if we think we can't, we won't do it. And so we have to look at how we can manage our thoughts. So when you're starting out on your journey, you have to invest in yourself. You have to, one, read the Bible, and then two, read self-help books. You got to invest in yourself so you know how to do it. And so when you do this, you have to manage your thoughts. Your mind, we got to get ourselves out the way. And our mind is one of the things that we do. So we have to know that when you shift your thoughts, you're going to elevate your life. And think of one of the laws I've learned is the law of substitution, where we can replace a thought with a thought. So you can't control sometimes what comes into your mind, but you can control what you meditate on. And so if you have something negative come into your mind, you need to replace that with something positive. You need to read books that's going to affirm what you can do. And just remember, there are power in thoughts and there are power in words. So be careful what you say after the word I am. Because if you say I am broke, sister, you're going to be broke. But
Right.
if you say that I am living an abundant life, and I say that and not wealth, because abundance, people are not always seeking wealth. They're seeking abundance. They want to be their true, authentic self. They want to maybe have an abundance of joy. They may want to have the wealth. They may want to have health. They may want to have that. So when you find that abundance, that you're looking for and having that abundance of life, then that is what's going to help you to be able to live out your dreams out loud.
I love it. Like, so we're just getting about to the halfway part. And this is where I want to say, if you're picking up what Stephanie's putting down, you're picking out those gems, please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below. And we're going to dive a little bit more into how do you know, discern the God's voice versus somebody else's voice. We're going to dive a little bit about that. And then we're going to pivot into her business. So, you talked about knowing the voice of God. How do you know, whether I need to take this route? Is it something that you just know inside, or how do you know?
I do believe in it, and that's a good point. I do believe everything that we need to succeed is within us, and we just have to bring it out of us. So now I want you to know, as a believer, and I know you're a believer, Tonia, as believers, sometimes people think that when we believe and we have this relationship with God, they think that nothing bad is going to happen to us. Everything is going to be rosy and all that. I'm not saying that, because that's not going to happen. It hasn't happened in my life. And I don't know anybody like that it's happened to. As a matter of fact, if Satan's not bothering you, I say you ain't got nothing going on. So you have to maintain faith when things are falling apart. You have to see your current situation and your current circumstances. You have to look past your now. So this is what's going on now, but we have to look past that. And we have to know that our circumstances right now is greater than the distractions and everything that's going on. And so you have to move past that. And a lot of times we are I like to say, hallelujah, away from that breakthrough. Right. One, if you're in business, one client away from being profitable. When you look at the power of one, of how that can impact your business, just one. But sometimes we quit. We quit on ourselves right before we get ready to have our breakthrough. So we got to quit quitting, and we have to move forward and to see, and just know that if you fail, by the definition of what some people think, fail forward. So fail forward and look and learn from every situation, and then say, God, reveal to me what you wanted me to learn from this. Because I look at what you may call failure is that you was moving in the wrong direction, and it's God's way of moving you into another direction, which is the right direction. And just know we are the average of the 5 people that we hang around. So if you're hanging around 5 negative people, guess what? You're going to be negative. If you're hanging around 5 broke people, you're going to be broke. But if you hang around 5 people who are filled with joy and positivity, guess what? That joy and positivity and peace is going to come into your life. If you see somebody who has something that you want, and it doesn't have to be right here, it could be someone that you can follow virtually, like on YouTube. That's who you need to be following. That could be one of those 5 people that you're surrounding yourself around. So I know you heard change the people around you. You want to change. So you just have to be able to do that, because you're going to be the average of the 5 people that you hang out with.
Right. I like I said, it's a very friendly reminder that, if you're thinking, oh, they're so negative, maybe you need to pick. Maybe you're the one who's the negative one, and changing your situation is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, because even though you may not be the negative one, but if you're going to be the average of that, they're going to get into your head. And if you're not careful with this, see, we got to guard our head and we have to guard our hearts. And so if you're not reading those books and you're not reading the Bible, when they're in your head and telling you it's not going to work, and it's not, because they're basing it on their limited knowledge. And so you have to know that there's other people out there who have succeeded. There's other people out there who have done this. And so see, what faith does, it doesn't avoid you getting knocked down, but it prepares you for it, that when you do get knocked down, you can get back up again. And so that's what faith is preparing you for. You're going through that preparation so that when I get knocked down, I'm going to get back up again. So faith says that, I didn't fail. I can get back up again. Faith says I can see my vision beyond my circumstances that I'm in right now. Faith says that, I'm not broke. Faith says that, I am prospering. Faith says that I can do all things. He didn't say some, a few, or anything. It says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And I believe this so in my heart. And it's not something that I heard something that's, someone's told me. This is something that I know. So I believe that you got to know that you know that you know. And when you know that you know that you know, eyes have not seen and ears have not heard of what's going to happen in your life.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Miss Stephanie, we're down to like the last 5 minutes or so. And I want to know if anybody didn't hear anything else you have to say today. What's the one thing you want them to take away from this interview today?
Is one thing one of my pastors shared with me. He said, when you're born, you look like your parents. But when you die, you look like the choices that you made. So you are the author of your autobiography. That dash from when you're born and from when you die is going to be based on the choices that you made. And so what do you want that dash to say about you? So what I would say to you is dare to dream. Dare to dream and then live that dream out loud. You can reset the button. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you've been dreaming about something and you want to do it, like I said, quit quitting, move forward. There are a lot of people who started who were young. There are a lot of people who started who were middle aged. There were a lot of people who started their business when they were old. So all we have to do is just start. Take the first step, and you are the author of your own autobiography. What do you want it to say?
I like that. I like that. So, Miss Stephanie, if people wanted to follow up with you, where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
Sure. They can. One of the businesses I have is an online bakery. So I'm on Facebook with that. And it is an online bakery where we specialize in homemade pound cakes from scratch. And it is called Delicious, DEE. And it's named in memory and honor of my grandmother, and that was her middle name. So DEE, Delicious Pound Cakes. And you can find us on Facebook with that. And then if you would like to email me, my email is Steph, STPH, _ then my last name, ROU, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, EAU at yahoo.com.
It's a pleasure.
And so I help, like I said, I help people to live their dreams out loud. If you would like more information on how you can live your dream out loud, email me at Steph _ Russo at yahoo.com, and I'll be more than happy to share with you.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for your time. It's amazing. Like I said, it's amazing how we went the conversation, right?
It's over already.
Yeah, can you imagine it? Again, I wanted to extend the invitation. Maybe we can come back and dive a little bit deeper, because I know you manage a couple other businesses, and I know you like protecting people. So we can always talk about that. Because you lead with tips, and I like that.
Yes, we protect people's identity and their properties as well. So I would love to come back now, and thank you for making me feel so comfortable. As you can see, I'm nervous. I told you this is so out of my comfort zone. This is my first time doing this, but Tonia, I love your servant heart, and I love what you're doing and how you're impacting people's lives in a positive way and being such an influencer. So it was an honor to be on here with you, and thank you for making me feel comfortable.
Oh, my pleasure, Miss Stephanie. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Like I said, I love your big faith, having big faith. So, I thought this was a pleasant conversation that we need to dive into.
Well, thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
And thank you for your time. And I want to also remind everybody who tuned in that feedback is always welcome. Emails if you have any guests or show ideas. Links that Stephanie mentioned will be posted down there in the description box below. So please make sure you check it out down below. If you enjoyed what Stephanie dropped and you picked up some of them juicy gems, please hit that like button. Let us know. Follow up with a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And if you enjoyed what Stephanie put down and you want to continue to hear more of the great insights that our guests are sharing, please consider hitting that subscribe button over there. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. Again, thank you for watching. We'll catch you later.